Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sky Knight. Have you ever run into the issue where you have a bunch of virtual machines on your system, but you really need to SSH into one from a different machine, only to find out that you can't actually access it because it's behind your original machine's IP address? Well, let's set up bridge networking so that we're actually able to access our virtual machines from anywhere on our network.
I just wanna start a new day.
All right, and how we're going to go about doing this is we're actually going to use an application called Netplan. On Debian-based systems, you can install it with sudo apt install netplan.io. And I already have it installed, so I don't need to reinstall it. Clear out of there. And when you install Netplan, it will actually create a folder for you in /etc/netplan. So let's go there. cd etc netplan. And you see, I've already set up a networking, but we're going to ignore that one. We're going to create a new one. Do sudo vim 01 youtube.yaml. And it doesn't matter what the name is. The indexing, the numbers in front of it, that does matter. It will take the smallest number first, apply that, it'll go to the next highest number, apply those. So if you have multiple configurations and the higher number overwrites the previous ones, the higher number one will be taken as the truth. Let's open this up. Actually, what I like to do is go to this website here. It's netplan.io. It's their original site, /examples. They have examples for anything that you'd want to do. First things first, let's start by creating just a static IP address. So let's do this. I'll make this a little bigger for you. And there's not really any use in actually typing all of this. Kind of explain it as we go. So network is just defining the network branch. Version 2, I'm not sure that that's actually needed. Renderer, this could either be Network D or Network Manager. I have Network D installed. I actually have Network Manager installed as well, but Network Manager is disabled and Network D is enabled. And Ethernets, this is where you are going to begin to set up your network devices. So to get those, you can type in IP A. And you see, I actually already have a bridge from my previous one, but we're going to create a different one. Okay, so our Ethernet device is called ENP12S0. So let's change that up here. 12S0. And this is where you can decide the static IP address for it. So let's change this to, I think right now I have 192.168.42.43. Let's change it to 192.168.42.200. And the /24 is just telling it to apply the netmask of 255.255.255.0 to it. Name servers, search. I do not put anything in the search. The addresses, I actually have my own custom Pi-hole server running, but for this case, let's just make it 1.1.1.1, the Cloudflare DNS address, and 8.8.8.8 for the Google DNS service. Okay, so routes, this is where you're telling it the gateway. It used to be called Gateway 4, now it's called routes. And 2.168.42. that one. This is generally always going to end in .1 unless you manually configure it on your router differently. If you did that, you're going to have to figure that out. Okay, so that is setting up a static IP address. And actually, there's one more thing that we can do just to make sure that it's going to be static. DHCP4 false. If you did want to have a DHCP server assign you an IP address, you would just set this to true. You wouldn't have to do the addresses or the namespace or the routes. It would just figure everything out for you. But we do want to do all that. Okay, so quit out of there. Let's move my current configuration, the one that I'm actually using, to just my home folder. Okay, so the only one in here now is this YouTube one. So do sudo netplan apply. And I don't know if you saw that up in the top of my networking of the polybar that I'm using just went away as it tries to refresh itself. Let's just wait for it to come back. Okay, and I actually just checked the polybar was actually set up to my bridge, so there isn't actually, it's not going to come back up right now. But as you can see, if we look at our IP address now, 192.168.42.200. So that worked as we wanted it to. Now we can scroll farther down. Everything on this site is just so easy to follow. Multiple addresses. Let me just search for bridge. Here we go. Okay, and this is also very easy. One of the things that you want to make sure that you have installed, I believe, is a package called bridge util sudo apt install bridge utils. I already have that installed. It might be called something else on your distribution, but bridge utils is what it is on ours, on Debian's. And what that is, it gives you access to the bctl command, I believe. brctl. It's essentially a bridge control. Yeah, bridge control. brctl. Okay. Now, let's go back into the file that we created. Sudo vim our file. And you need to change a couple things here. So under Ethernets, so we want to give the name. We want to call. Oh, this is actually saying to put a DHCP4 no. I wonder if that actually makes a difference. It seems weird that it would be DHCP4 true, and then no would be the negative, but whatever. We'll change that to no. Okay, write that out. Now we can get rid of, I believe. Actually, no, we are going to want to set the bridge, or the address of our bridge. So let's create a new bridge. Bridges. And since we already used BR0, since that already exists, let's go BR1. And then the indentation of these YAML files is very important. DHCP4, no. Interfaces. So this is where you're telling it what the bridge has, like, kind of how the bridge is actually getting its wider area connection. So you just want to make sure that it's spelled exactly the same as this one. EMP12S0. Okay, and we aren't going to do anything with VLANs specifically, but we are going to give it a static IP address. So let's bump these over. I believe everything should be at the right levels. If it's not, it's pretty simple to find out what's wrong. It'll usually tell you exactly what's wrong. So let's write and quit out of there. Sudo Netplan apply. Okay, so I do have a error here. Expected sequence. Okay. So it didn't like this. Oh. I don't know why it's picky about that specifically. It seems like it would be the same thing, but it is what it is. Write that out and try to apply again. Okay, IP A. So we have a BR1 now, and that has the static IP of the 200. There is our, and you'll see here that it has a master of BR1. So right now, BR1 is controlling our Ethernet device. Essentially, BR1 is acting as a switch for basically all of the connections going into this computer. And if we were to open up Virt Manager, we'd be able to go into all of these, changing the NIC on these. So it was hooked up to my BR0 initially with my old config. Generally, if it is on just the default network, this will be it. So you want to change it to bridge device and type in what it is. So BR1. Apply that. And we'll just open it up and show that it can still connect to the internet. This is my bare bones to beautiful VM, by the way. If you're not watching that, I'd recommend it. So ping google.com. And there we go. Getting data back. So that's it. That's how easy it is to set up bridge networking with Netplan. Netplan makes everything so much easier. Okay, cool. All right, well, I'm Sky Knight. Thank you all for hanging out with me. See you later.